Hey everybody, and welcome to a Lefty Knitter podcast. My name is Aquila, and I come to you from Baltimore, Maryland, with my husband, my cats, my kids, and all the yarn. This is a podcast primarily about knitting, sometimes crochet and other fiber arts, or other crafty things I'm just getting into. And the cat is already a disturbance. Yay! If you're a longtime viewer, you know that I have a cat that likes to interrupt all the time. She's shaking it right now. Is Luna? Say hi, Luna. You're going to get kicked out and you're going to be locked out. That's what's going to happen. So say bye. This is our tripod. She's missing a leg. Okay. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. I haven't recorded in a while. Life has been lifing. The plague had hit the house multiple times and it's just been a lot. And I just wanted to craft the same thing over and over and over, and you're going to see that in just a few minutes. So I apologize that it's going to be a lot of repetitive things you're going to see, but I have been crafting in the background. I just haven't had enough energy to just put myself onto the YouTubes. So this is episode 244, if I didn't mention that, and today is Wednesday, August 28th. So school has started here in Maryland where we live, and it's 3 days in, and so far so good. We're doing all right. Yeah, sorry, bells are jingling. We'll talk about them in a minute. So let's just jump right into what I've been working on, because I finished that sweater, okay? I haven't woven the ends. I have blocked it. This is the Heirloom Quilt cardigan, and if you've been watching or you go back and watch the last episode, you will see glimpses of it. It is 100 degrees here today. I will show this eventually. I swear, maybe even in this episode, just not today, because I got home from work. I didn't feel like changing. I'm wearing my Ranunculus, and I will link everything down below. I will try to remember to link everything down below. This is knit out of 100% cotton yarn, the Hempathy yarn, if you're familiar with that, and I love this color so much. I'm just wearing a black tank top under it, so that's why you see like black there and skin tone here. But I never thought I would knit the Ranunculus, but I did, and now I love it. At least this one. I haven't knit any others. I don't know if I would like it in like a wool. I don't know. I might try it, because it was a very fast to knit. Just saying. So what have I been doing? I needed something mindless, and I wanted something new. Something I hadn't done before. And I've seen people do crochet corner to corner stuff. And I've seen people do all the color work in those crochet corner to corner. Now, I did not do that. Don't get too excited for me. I didn't do that. I didn't dive that far. But I did dive into learning crochet corner to corner. I believe I watched a video by Alt Knots. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. But if you search corner to corner crochet, you will get a bunch of results in YouTube for tutorials. So I had a bunch of these cakes. Not a bunch. I have a few cakes. These are the mandala tweed stripes, which I wouldn't call this tweed, because tweed is like tweedy bits. This is more like marled, if you ask me. But this is, this must be 2 different years they put it out, because the labels are a little bit different. And I thought these colors would go well enough together. I don't remember which one is which. One is called Horseshoe, and one is called Knock on Wood. And I just decided I'm going to crochet one whole ball of mandala, or cake of mandala, and that'll be the widest point, and then the other cake will just finish off the square, or, well, it's going to be a square if I did it well enough. I can't remember, like I said, which cake was which, and I haven't even woven the ends, but I thought it looked good enough together. So I have this beautiful little, I would call it like a car seat blanket, or a stroller blanket, or even a tummy time blanket. It's smaller. I would even say I would give this to my little and let her play with it for her dolls as a blanket. I mean, it's actually decent size enough that my little, she's gonna be 9, oh my god, she could use this as a lap blanket, but honestly, she wants to be covered and smothered, just saying, in a blanket if she chooses. So I had a little bit left. I didn't actually use all of the second ball, which is okay. So I will take this off and put it in my scrap bin of acrylic yarns, because this is, I believe they're 100% acrylic. Yes, 100% acrylic. So they're the same yardage, they're the same yarns, they just must come out in different years. So I was addicted, like seriously. So what did I do? I was gifted this beautiful cake of yarn from Val, who is something with knitting, mama, not, no, Nana, and goodness gracious, Creations by Val is her IG name. Why can't I think of the podcast? I'll put it down below. She had gifted me this beautiful yarn, and I had no idea what I was going to do with it. But I thought it was really cool. It's Red Heart Super Saver, and it's called Bitty Stripes. And this was called the Crayon Box color. Now, I knew this wasn't going to be very big based on just the nature of crochet with one ball. And I had known that the mandala cakes were like, well, I'll look it up because I don't know exactly how many yards were in it. So these are 426 yards. They're listed as a weight US 4, a medium 4. And this is, why? Okay, sorry. 515 yards. So I knew one ball of this wasn't going to get me very far. It wasn't going to be as big as the previous little baby blanket I had made. So I caked this up, and then I weighed it, and then I crocheted half of the cake, and then for the increases, and then I decreased the other half, and I ran out still. But no fear, this is going to be gifted to one of my little's best friends as a blanket for her babies. She loves it, and I just have to weave the ends in and give it to her. But isn't that yarn is super cool. So if you get a chance, and it worked up really nice. It's a very, I wouldn't say, I don't know, you can see all the color bits. There's like lighter in, like if you're looking at like this blue, you see the lighter color and the blue. So it's not a straight up full tonal of each color. It's beautiful though. But see, I ran out. I even ripped back and crocheted as tight as I could to maybe get to the corner. No dice. Wasn't happening. But her little friend doesn't care. She has already seen it, and she is just awaiting me to make a video so she can have this. So I think we're going to see them this weekend. So I need to get some ends woven in. I've just been housing them in their things. Okay. Then I decided to cast on another. You guys are going to be like, what is she doing? So I took 2 more cakes that I had. I believe they're both, I'm not sure if these were mandala cakes. Hold on. Do I have the labels? No, these are not. These are the sweet rolls. And they were 2 different colors. They're not the exact same color. But I had 2 of them. One is color blueberry. And one was color ice pop. But they were all different blues. I had started this. And unfortunately, I had to go. Hazel had a terrible stomach bug. She was drinking, but couldn't keep anything down, and it was miserable. And I was really worried about dehydration, even though she was still drinking, but she just, nothing was staying down. And then one morning she's like, my fingers are tingly, and I'm like, we're going to the ER. I don't know what's happening. And I did do the Dr. Google search. You shouldn't do that. But it did say that you can have tingly extremities from dehydration. So I was assuming that's what it was. And it was. She got some IVs. First time she's ever had to do that. First time she's ever had a blood draw. it was a lot of firsts. Mom almost passed out watching her get her blood drawn. Not passed out, I just got really sweaty. I normally do okay. I don't love needles myself, and I can handle it for myself, but then I had to sit there with my kid. That was difficult. So this got worked on quite a bit in a hospital setting. And this one is much smaller because these are, the yardage on these was a lot less. 245 yards. So this is like half the size of the mandala cakes, okay? So two of these equals like one mandala. Mandala? I don't know. Okay, so here it is. And they worked really well together. You can barely tell there are two different skeins of yarn. So yes, this is, I don't know also what I'm doing with this one either. Not sure. But that's okay. It has just been very potato chippy. Now, while I was working on the second and third of those, I also decided I needed a new blanket for myself. Did I need a new blanket? No, I didn't. But I needed a new blanket. I dug out a Rubbermaid bin. You know, the bins, the totes we all have. And I keep all of my acrylic yarns there. Now, I know some of these have like nylon and whatnot, but I'm talking about my, you know, all the baby yarns, all the ones that are 100% acrylic yarns. Some of these are not actually 100%, but I decided to get out a bigger hook, hold those yarns double. I'm going to have to show this from further away, and I'll just probably put that at the end of this because I'm not sure, I can't show the whole thing. And I decided to make it fit our queen size bed. Let's see if I can figure out which corner I started with. I know I can figure that out. Okay, so here, nope. Where is it? This one. Okay, I started here, and I showed the progress of this on my Instagram stories. Started here, and I was holding yarns together, so I got this really fun marled effect. And I just kept going until it was long enough that you could lay down comfortably, the yarn covered your feet, and you could pull it up to your chin. So this just keeps going on forever and ever and ever and ever. Here's the other long edge. This is the end of the long edge, and then it goes across, and I had a lot of black, and then I ran out of black, and I used some grays, and I finished it off with some crazy leftover yarns that I had leftover. I used a lot of yarn for this. I had many full skeins of some Caron Simply Soft, just all different. I don't even know what they all were. I had labels on them all, but they've now been all thrown away. I didn't need to keep them. I am so happy with this. And now this is the blanket. This is the blanket we're all fighting over in the house. That's what happened. I made a blanket as a comfort blanket for myself, and now everybody wants it. It's fine though. And I wove in all my ends. It's amazing. I think I have crochet corner to cornered myself out, but I really love the process. I really love that it's, I mean, yes, I could do a granny stripe blanket. Yes, I could do a single crochet blanket, etc. I just think I loved this technique, and it was new, and it's definitely now going to be like a go-to, like for if I need to make a baby blanket or something like that. Because I know I can buy two like of the bigger mandala or cakes, the sweet rolls or something like that, and I can make a really nice blanket for someone who is expecting. Okay? Let me tell you the woe of the fruit stripe gum socks. So I started these socks for Hayes. They do not go over. They are too much of a pain in the butt to get over her ankle, and I am not finishing them. I'm going to take this out, Look how pretty it is though. Let me tell you the yarn in case you're new and or you just don't remember. This is Rockin' String Creations and it is called Rebel Child. Rebel Child. And Hazel really loved the pattern for this because I've made it before. And this was her yarn and I knew it was for her. It's just, even with a heel flap and gusset, it is not going over this child's foot. It's not happening. So I'm going to rip this out. It's a real shame. I had a lot of decent work in it, but it's okay. I'm not mad because this was not hard knitting. I'm going to crank her a pair of socks on my 64 stitch Earlbacker Speedster with this yarn, and I'm going to put the nylon in it. It's not nylon. The Lycra. I'm going to put the Lycra in it so it'll suck in with her foot because I don't know technically if I make it on the 64 how well it's going to fit her foot yet. So I might end up making it, or I should just get her to try on one of my socks because the circumference will be what I need to know. Because the length I can make whatever, but I need to know if the circumference fits her foot. So that will be something I do later today or this week, and I will be ripping this out and cranking it on my machine, and she'll have a fully finished pair of socks that I know she's excited for because she's like, are they done yet? Are they done yet? Are they done yet? And I'm like, I need to try it on your foot. And she's like, I don't feel like it. Then the last thing that I was obsessed with, and this was very recent, and I have posted stuff on Instagram about this. I think the person's name is Bruna, but I'm not sure, but I saw this post on Instagram of this wind spinner. Brunacality, I think is the Instagram name. I will link it down below. They put out a YouTube video, a free tutorial on YouTube to make this wind spinner, and I went straight downstairs and grabbed yarn. I don't have the one that I made first because that's upstairs already hanging up and I just didn't feel like taking it down, but I used like sugar and cream cotton. Decided I didn't like that weight and that even though the wind spinner should be stiff, I just didn't like the look I was getting. So I ended up going out to the store and I bought a bunch of this yarn from Joann's, and it works up really well for these. I like the yarn too, and I would use it for other things also. This is most of it. I did buy 2 other skeins because somebody requested certain colors and they didn't have it in this line. This is called Knit and Crochet Premium Yarn. It is 100% cotton, and it is made, I believe, in Turkey. Made in Turkey. It's a trademark of JAS LLC. Now, I'm not sure if they are related to Joann. I don't know. But this yarn is super nice. It is a 3-weight. See the 3. And I've been using a 3.5 millimeter hook. A 6/0 3.5 millimeter. Can you see that? Yes. Okay. And I bought, when I say I bought a lot of colors, I didn't buy all the colors. I bought a lot of colors. And I've been having a lot of fun. Hazel now has her own. Her little friend has her own. I let them pick the colors. Her little friend painted her beads. I'll show you what I've done. So this yarn is the other yarn that that was not that line. This is the 24/7 cotton. This worked well too. So don't get me wrong that, this color was this one, but the 24/7 cotton in the DK weight. No, I'm lying. They had DK weight. This is actually a 4. So this would be a worsted, but it worked just fine with the other yarns. So those 2, because I needed some darker colors for this. So this was a requested color. So you just make this spinner, you crochet it up. I used fishing spinners for lures. So this part will spin here this spins, this part right here. So this yarn here holding it won't get all tangled when it's hanging. I haven't trimmed the tassel yet, but I bought these beads. I'll show you the beads in a minute. And I used watercolor on them. Watercolor paints. And it's super fun. I love it so much. And I'm so grateful for this person putting out a free YouTube tutorial. And I think I influenced quite a few people to make some because I had posted them on Instagram because I loved them so much. But these are the beads. Let me just show you again. And I've made quite a few. I've already gifted 3 and 1 is hanging in my house. So yeah, I've made a few. This one I kept the beads natural. This is for my sister-in-law. She went off to college, so I didn't get a chance to give it to her. But when she comes home, I'll be able to give it to her. And hers I kept the beads natural. And this one was a fun one that I was trying something different. So the last round, you're doing 3 double crochets into each chain. For this row here, this light blue, you're doing 3 double crochets into a chain below. And then you do a last row, which I didn't do on this one because I want to show you what I did instead. Instead of those 3 double crochet, I did 4 crochet stitches into the chain. 1 is a half double. The 2 on the outside, it's a half double, 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 half double to give it that rounded flower petal effect. And I love it a whole lot. It doesn't look much different this way. A little bit. You can kind of see the round bumpy edges, but you can definitely see it here when I hold it like this. You can see the bumpy, like flower looking edges. That's what I was going for. So I haven't finished this one. And just so you guys can see the beads I bought, I just bought these from Hildy and Joe, the wood beads from Joann's. And they take paint well. I'm sure acrylic would be fine too. I just thought watercolor would be fun to keep that natural look, almost like a stained look on the bead. So, and then I used one of these on one of the spinners that I kept, the first spinner, but I was talking, Chevis has now made one. I think Andrea the cat lady's made them. I believe Andy the knitress has made some. People are making, they're so cool. I mean, my friend that I gifted one to, hers is hanging outside and it's been outside for like 3 weeks and it still looks good. So I went, because I was talking with Chevis about putting bells at the bottom. And I bought these bells and they're all different shapes. I can't remember, I could put the Amazon listing, but they are super, like, I don't remember if they called them religious bells or whatever they called them. They're like real distressed tin, and it came with 4 different shapes. So you got this shape and this shape, and you got a triangle, and I think one more that was more straight round. So like that. Get out of my shoe. Luna loves Birkenstocks and will claw the crap out of the cork, and I have to we have to keep our shoes put up. So I used one, but it's hanging inside, so I don't know what it sounds like if it was outside. So I'm ridiculous. I'm ridiculous. I get stuck on something and I just want to make 18 of them. It's really hard. It's really hard. So that's what I've been crafting. I've talked a whole lot just to catch you up on what I've been doing, but I'm glad to be feeling more up to putting myself back out and talking on the internet about what I'm making. And I hope that you guys are gonna tell me what you guys are making too, because I'm really excited. I know there's a bunch of knit-alongs going around right now. There is one, I have a project started. I haven't had it finished yet, but Nicole from Witchin Knittin' Mama, I'm not sure the name of her podcast, I'll put it down below. She is doing a ghost along, an emotional support ghost along, and I did purchase the Grinning ghost pattern because when I was buying all this cotton yarn, I bought some glow-in-the-dark yarn, and I think Andy had already made a ghost out of some glow-in-the-dark yarn too, but it's fine because they're super cool. So I'm very excited. I need to actually go back and buy another skein because one wasn't enough, even though what I read on the now I didn't do a gauge swatch for a stuffy, but I didn't have enough, even though it said I would have enough. So it's okay. It's totally okay. I just need to buy another skein. And it's the white, and it should just glow as like the greenish color. And I'm super excited. It's going to be gifted to Hazel. I have to let her pick eyes out. This cat has to be in my lap all the time. So I hope everybody's well, and I will hopefully talk to you in another clip, because I didn't say this at the beginning, but I try to post every week. Great. Why is our smoke alarm going off? Okay, I have to go. Talk to you later. All right, guys, it is Sunday, and I need to finish up this episode. It is September 1st. I should have known that. Hazel and I went to go see Inside Out 2 because we haven't seen it yet, and they only have one showing left in the movie theaters because its time is running out in the theaters. We could have probably waited to see it at home on streaming, but we wanted to see it. So we're gonna have a movie night tonight. I don't know what we're watching. I feel like this stuff is in shot, and it's really not. So, okay. So what have I been working on? I've been working on my squares. So I was gifted this yarn from Valorie. This is the Red Heart stripe, granny stripe yarn, and it makes about 14 squares. I have 7, and I plan on making a fanny pack out of them. So what you essentially do, I'll try to do this so you can understand what I mean. You'll have one on the front of your fanny pack and one on the back. And then these get sewn like this. And you'll sew this seam, the bottom seam, and this seam. And on the other side, you'll sew the side seams too. And it'll create a pocket where my hands are. The top is the pocket. And I will sew straps on from here to here. It's the hardest way to show it, but it's cute. I want to use a lining fabric that's like black for behind the squares because I don't want the fanny pack to be like this. I want to line it with fabric. And then I'm going to do a lining for the inside of the fanny pack also. So it's going to be two, it's essentially going to be a bag within this. So I wanted something, I like when purses or bags have a lighter fabric on the inside because it's easier to see what's inside of your bag. So today I purchased a fat quarter from Joann's, and it's just a really light color. They didn't have any just plain black. I might have some plain black I have a little bit of a fabric stash. I mean, not much, but I want it to be black because I don't think this behind it is pretty. I think it should be a black fabric. I don't have black, but my laptop's black, so that kind of works. I just think it looks better with the black behind it. Okay, so that is the plan. And I did purchase a zipper. I laid out the squares like I just showed you, and I measured across the top, and I bought an 18-inch zipper. I have not done much sewing like this before, so this is going to be very new to me. And I've made a bag with a zipper once, but it was once, and it was many years ago. So I got to figure that out. If there's anybody out there that has a really good or knows of a really good tutorial for doing like a lining of a bag and a zipper, that would be very helpful because I will probably hand sew the whole lining. Like I'll essentially create a fabric bag and then sew the lining by hand into the crochet part. That's probably what I'm going to do. All right, so I told you guys about the emotional support ghost along. I didn't show you my ghost. I am doing the Grinning ghost, and I can't remember the designer's name. It'll be below. But like I said, I bought the glow yarn, and I'm using the needle that they called for, and I'm not going to have enough. I need to finish his head. It's not going to be enough. So I did put in the purl stitches where his eyeballs are going to go. I need to take my safety eyes up and let Hazel pick out what color safety eyes she wants to use. And then I did purchase today at Joann's a second ball of the glow yarn. I don't think I can get it to glow on camera. That would be really cool if I could. I'm trying to hold it up against this light. You can kind of see it. If I turned all the lights off, it would probably be better, but I'm just not going to do that right now. You'll see him in his finished state, and I'll do like a clip at the end or something showing him. So there we go. All right, so finished object time. I wove in the ends. I wasn't sure if I loved the ribbing on this, but I have decided it is done and completed, and I am not going to be changing anything about it. So this is the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan. I'll insert picture here of the designer from Instagram or from Ravelry, their picture. I used my naturally dyed yarn advent from Knitting Nakabi. It was a labyrinth theme, and I was able to hold the fingering weight double, and I could get, I had a little bit of issues with how, I don't know if the grams were messed up, my knitting tension was messed up, I'm not quite sure. Some of them I did not get full second squares out of, and I ripped them out. I have a whole bag of scraps, and I'm okay though, because I ended up using, like, if it was color day 1 and 2 and I didn't have enough for of day 2 to make a second square, I maybe mixed day 1 and 3. So it's totally fine. And it was a 31-day advent, and so I had plenty of yarn to make my squares. So that wasn't a problem. I even had extra mini skeins, which I'll show you what I did with them. So I used the main skein. I didn't have enough yarn to use just the advent. I could have used all my little scraps and did the ribbing for it, but I didn't. So this is my Heirloom Quilt Cardigan. I will push you guys back so you can see this in all its glory. Let me pause and do. Now you're gonna have to ignore all the stuff I usually cut out of my, and this is not the best shirt to wear it with because the stripes don't really go, but you can see some of the skeins were variegated skeins, okay? I didn't love those as much. So there were 2 mini skeins. Not in this project anyway. I held 2 of those mini skeins off to the side because I didn't want to use them. So for the sleeves, I'll explain what I did. So I sewed all these together using mattress seaming. It looks so good. This yarn is a yarn I got from a local farm. It was in one of their, I had a subscription box for all local farm yarns. And this was from that, so it's undyed. I have a skein of it. Hold on, I can show you. This is it. And this was a DK weight, so I didn't have to hold it double. So this is a California red wool sheep. And if you could see this in person, it's such a beautiful color. Okay, so I'm going to shove that back in there. That was the only yarn I didn't have enough to do from the advent. So the main skein from the advent, I did my sleeves, and I just split it exactly in half and knit as far as I could go. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I could have stopped here and then did ribbing, but that was a little short. I didn't want it to be full length because technically it's like up here. So if I pull it correctly, it is more like bracelet length with the ribbing on it. So the variegated skeins that I didn't want in the squares, I held one of each of them together and did my ribbing with them. I wish the light was down here was better, but it's not. So I love this. It's supposed to be a cropped. I could block this a little better, but I'm not worried about it. I think it's awesome. So, and I feel like I'm constantly adjusting where the shoulder seam is sitting. It does sit a little higher in the back, but it's so awesome. I love it so much. I can't wait to wear it. I'm definitely going to wear this to Shenandoah Valley Shenandoah Valley Fiber Fest, which that's at the end of September. It's in Berryville, Virginia. If you're in the area, you should go. It's like $5. It's Saturday and Sunday, and it's a great little festival. Lots of vendors. You would not be disappointed. So I love this so much. I don't think I realized that I put these two right there. I laid all these out and I was trying to pay like really good attention to not have matching squares so close to one another, but I didn't think about it when I had it laid out because these weren't touching, because there is a panel that goes down the back. And so they weren't next to one another and I didn't realize it. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. And there were some people I think that were like, not sure about my sleeve choice with using the main skein. I think it goes really well with the whole advent because it was all dyed together. And I do love the variegated sleeves, even though this is a mauve and this is like orange and blue. You can barely tell, like a peachy color and blue. I love it so much. It's so good. And it is warm. So it's DK weight because I held fingering weight double, but then it's also stranded, so it's like even double thickness because of that. And that's all my strands if you're interested. So I love this thing so much. I know Nicole from Professor Pearl podcast was making one. I don't think she's seamed all of hers up yet, so I am very excited to see hers also. Guys, it's so good. I know it was a labor of love. I really got into a rhythm of knitting this, and for some of it, I didn't even need the color work chart because I had, like, I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop working on these. I was making a square a day, practically. And so if I didn't wait so long and take a hiatus from the podcast, I probably would have had this done in, like, maybe a month. It was insane. I'm so happy I made it, though. When I first saw it came out on Ravelry and on Instagram and the pictures, and I was just like in awe with this sweater. So I highly encourage you to do something like, if you see it and you love it and it might intimidate you a little bit, because honestly this did, because it is stranded color work, purling and knitting, because you're going back and forth, right? So don't be intimidated. And then mattress seaming it was totally fine. I had no issues, and it's so good. Let me see, is there a better place to put this? Let me see if I can put my light up. Oh my God, it's so good. Sorry, you're seeing like the whole office at this point, okay? And I love it so much. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I will post video of the blanket after this, and that's gonna be the end of the episode. I have read some. I have been watching stuff on TV. I was totally invested in the Olympics for quite some time, and so now we're watching Paralympics. So if you get a chance to watch any of that, I highly encourage you. It's interesting, it's supportive, it's just wholesome, really, if you ask me. So that's really what we've been, like, that's a lot of what we watched. And if you know me at all, I've talked about my obsession with the show Big Brother, the reality show. And yeah, I'm watching that again this season. So now you know what I've been just kind of like doing. So I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody's taking care of themselves. I know people have been going through some really rough times. I know there's been people that have been having really awesome times in their lives. So just remember to like reach out to people, talk to them. Also make sure before you unload all of your emotional drama on somebody that you ask them if it's okay, because they might not be able to handle that emotional, not drama, all of your emotional baggage. That's the wrong word too. you should ask people before you talk about it, because sometimes they don't have the capacity to like deal with it either. I know that sounds terrible, but just be mindful of your friends and who you're like talking to, because they might not have enough space either, and that's okay. And they might have plenty of space, and I hope you find those people, because it's difficult. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys one more thing. I cranked an order and I wanted to show you, because I'm going to have a video coming out. I did a demonstration video on my Erlbacher gear heart. This is Always Be Kind yarn that I was cranking for an order. Look how pretty it is. I've never owned any of their yarn, and now that I have cranked a few skeins, I love it. This is a DK weight. I cranked it on my 48 stitch cylinder. This is the Always Be Kind yarn. This was one of her kindness clubs, so you probably can't get this colorway anymore unless they release them after the fact. I don't know, but this was recent. It was April of 2024, and it's beautiful. And there is a second, I promise. And the other colorway I cranked was this one, and this is March 2024. I don't have it on a blocker, but aren't these awesome? They're so good. They're so good. So if you have a chance to check out Always Be Kind yarn, you should do that. I have another skein to crank, and this one's, I'm excited to see what this looks like. This one is a fingering weight. And I think this one isn't a club. At least it doesn't say it's a club. So you might be able to receive this one. It's a sparkle, if you can tell. So these were a whole lot of fun to crank. And if you are interested in watching my demonstration on the Erlbacher gear heart and a 48 stitch cylinder, I will have that video coming out very shortly. So thank you everybody who has supported me just through everything, and take care of yourselves, and hopefully you're knitting things that are making you happy and bringing you joy. And if that's not bringing you joy right now, I hope that you're doing other things that do bring you joy. So I will talk to you all in the next episode, and peace, love, and happy knitting. Bye. Hey guys, I'm gonna show you the blanket. So, yay. I started with this corner here, and I went in this direction. And it's gigantically across. There. So there's my whole blanket. It's crazy pants, and I love it.